Governor Youngkin decides to pardon the cop who killed an unarmed black man. Here's the video. I got the update.
Got the radio. Urban 2 holding channel for us. Bloomingdale spot lot. Black male. Going towards 7 from Fashion. He's crossing over. Crossing over, guys. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Going into the woods. Through the woods. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Stop reaching. Stop reaching. Shut.
Put it up full mass. That cop was convicted. Virginia governor under fire because he decided to pardon a white cop who fatally shot an unarmed black male accused of stealing sunglasses. After only 3 days in prison, this decision was made. Glenn Youngkin was commuted or has commuted former Fairfax County Police Department Sergeant Wesley Schiffet's prison sentence for the fatal shooting of an unarmed young black male suspected of shoplifting. This was outside of a mall in Northern Virginia. The attorney, Caleb Kirshner, told WUSA 9 News his client was released Sunday night and is back home with his family just 3 days into serving his sentence. 3 days. The officer was convicted last fall of reckless handling of a firearm. He's a cop and he gets charged with reckless handling of a firearm after the death of 37-year-old Timothy Johnson. This happened in 2023, February. The officer and other cops, another officer chased and shot Mr. Johnson after a security guard accused him of stealing a pair of sunglasses from Nordstrom near Tyson's Corner Center, a popular shopping mall. Although both cops got fired their weapons, Officer Schiffet did not miss shooting the suspect once in the chest. He was fired from the department weeks after. Prosecutor Jenna Sands said if he paused for a few more seconds to wait on other cops, the situation could have been much different. He was acquitted of involuntary manslaughter, but found guilty of reckless handling of a firearm. He was sentenced to 5 years with 3 years in prison, 2 years suspended last month. The judge did it. A sentence of 1 to 5 years had been expected. So let's get into the governor's decision. Nonetheless, Governor Youngkin said he decided to commute the ex-cop because, quote, the sentence was unjust and violates the cornerstone of our justice system, that similarly situated individuals received proportionate sentences. I want to emphasize that a jury acquitted the sergeant of the more serious charge of involuntary manslaughter, a conviction for which the sentencing guideline recommended no jail time or up to 6 months incarceration. Let's back up. A cornerstone. That's interesting, Governor. The only person violating a cornerstone of the justice system is you. Once again, he was convicted. Constitutional rights intact. Similarly situated individuals, how many cops in that situation? How many cops are held accountable by a prosecutor when something like that happens? In addition to that, you're arguing the bigger charge. Oh, well, that he was found not guilty of or acquitted. Well, that's correct. That's how the justice system works. He was found guilty, however, of the crime he was serving time for. No regard for the victim or the victim's family. In this case, the court rejected the senior probation and parole officer's recommendation of no incarceration, nor supervised probation, and instead imposed a sentence of 5 years. The fix was in. They were trying to make sure he got to go home quickly, but a judge intervened. Incarceration with 2 suspended years and an additional 5 years of probation. Youngkin said the sergeant has no prior criminal record and was, by all accounts, an exemplary police officer. It is in the interest of justice that he be released immediately. You know, I'm reporting on a lot of these stories, more so now than before. And I got to be honest with you, I'm pissed. Some days I'm wondering, what the hell? Why? Does it matter what we do? And naturally, of course, it does. But these individuals are gaslighting intentionally, and they are doing the thing that typically they wanted to do, but never had the political courage. Trump has given them that. Trump has given them that. But at the beginning, middle, and end of the day, they still rely on people to give them power. No matter what, you are not disempowered. You are still in charge. All right, dear brother, thoughts here?
Well, I mean, the political calculation is just as disturbing as what he did, right? So Glenn Youngkin, Virginia governors are term limited to 1 term, but he clearly has ambitions beyond the Virginia governor's mansion. And what makes this all the more disturbing, Dr. Ritchie, is that he thinks this will help him in a presidential primary, in a presidential race. That doing something like this has political currency to a whole segment of the country is so upsetting. I mean, it's not just the power corrupts, the absolute power corrupts absolutely, that Trump has, as you said, facilitated people in power to do things that their opinion forces them to do rather than following the law. I mean, that is corruption. That is blatant corruption. And I think that at a certain point in time, we're going to revisit the pardon power and what it can be limited to and the scope of it. But
yeah, well,
he was convicted by a jury. I mean, you are upending justice in Virginia here. For go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, dear brother. There was a delay.
Yeah. So I'm just saying upending justice is not what a governor, even small g governor, you're supposed to govern the way things happen in your state as the capital G governor. And I think that this is really flying in the face. If I were a Virginian and I went to school there, I would be so angry that this happened, because it's just at the whim of a man who wants to show support for the police blindly, calls this person an exemplary police officer by all other accounts. There was nothing exemplary that happened there. All his exemplariness, which is not a word that I learned in Virginia, is thrown out the window as soon as he did what we saw him do there over a pair of sunglasses. So Wesley Shiflett, as his lawyer said, has a new lease on life. Tim Johnson, that was taken from him, and the governor just said, doesn't matter.
Yeah. We'll bring you updates as they come.